morning, YouTube. Here with you at the printer table in the living room. This is the new Creality Ender 3 V3 Plus 3D printer that I purchased. This is the refurbished one. For all intents and purposes, it looked like it was brand new to me. That's all I can tell you. But the only thing I didn't see was on the display. There was no protective covering like on the original, but it was in a bag and well protected, so no problem there. Now, obviously, this thing is big. That is the Bamboo Lab P1P next to it. There on the right side, right here. It's bigger than that, a good bit. Let's go up a little bit in the thing here. We'll see. There's the top of both of them right there. You can see it's quite a bit bigger than the Bamboo Lab. Now, obviously, the build volume is bigger on the Creality. I think it's 300 by 300 by 330 on the height, and I think the Bamboo Lab is 256 maybe squared or cubed or whatever they call it. But anywho, that's the whole thing all done and printing. So I will probably put a very quickly put together little assembly type thing for it. May include it with this video. I don't know. I'm trying to keep my videos down a little bit as far as the thing. Now you may notice on top, if I got up that high, but let's go up here. Yeah, there's your. Now that little small filament roll is the one that come with the printer. I do all my initial printing with it rather than break out a brand new 1 kilogram spool. So, like I said, is what it is. Now, like I said, that's not the original location for where the spool was supposed to go on this. It goes on the side down here, off of this rail here, and sticks up like that. Everybody that's had these printers, and even Bob with his just standard V3, said that they do not work right. They supposed to have like a kickstand that kind of keeps the tangles down, but it does not work as intended. So everybody and their brother said to put the spool on top. And there was plenty of prints out there to do it, and obviously that's what I used. One Bob supplied, and you can see there's the actual spool holder there, clamped onto the top of the gantry, and then right next to it is the runout sensor that you have on these printers. Now I've got it. You can see also the little clamps there on the cable to the Bowden tube, and so that works really good. And I've got one more little, I want to put a zip tie. You can see where that little tag is sticking out right here. I want to put a zip tie on that to that strut rod right there, brace rod, whatever you want to call it. But and I may even put another one on down to keep that cable secure to that. Just keeps it from going anywhere. It's not a big deal one way or the other, but like I say, that's what I want to do there, and that will finish that part up. And the only thing I'll have to do then is put a regular spool of filament on it, and it'll be ready to go. But like I said, I have done some printing here, and I'm going to show you those here. Let me get reset up for that, and I'll show you. I am back again. The first thing I printed was the first thing almost anybody with a new 3D printer prints, and that is a Benchy. And they are so named as the benchmark for printing. They have a lot of curves, a lot of fine details and things like that you look at to see how well your printer prints. And this one came out really nice. I compared it to the one I printed for the P1P. And it very close in quality. Now there was a little bit of this didn't seem as well defined on this rail here, but it wasn't. It could be just a little difference in the way the thing's laid out as well. But like I said, all benchies are not created equal. They're supposed to be, but you know, that's just the way it works. But like I said, that printed in 13 minutes, and that shows you the speed of this printer, and it is fast. It's big and it's fast. So very happy about the way it's working so far. And so that was the first thing. Now the second thing, my daughter asked Bob and I some time ago if we could print up plastic furniture for her dollhouse that she is building, and we had tried to find the correct scale. And once we did that, we printed a few pieces, and I took her out a couple, and she says those will be fine. So I found this the other day when I was looking for, I guess, Sunday while Bob was at church. But I thought, well, I needed something else to print. You know, just the benchies. That's the only thing I printed. So I found this. That is a toilet. Obviously a dollhouse style toilet. And like I said, I told my daughter, I said, you know, I sent her a picture of that, and I said, in case your dolls need a pot to pee in, there you go. She got a big kick out of that. So anyway, like I said, this lid's supposed to go up and down, but it's just kind of flaps on the plastic, and it's not really meant to go all the way down, I don't think. It's not on a hinge or anything. It's just plastic, you know, the way it bends there. So we'll not bend that too much. But the last thing I last thing I printed was an item that while Bob was at church, I set this printer here in the Creality cloud, which allows you to do remote printing. And that's how we print, or actually how he prints things on my Bamboo Lab P1P from his house. He basically, you know, logs onto the cloud and gets a hold of my printer and sends the print to it, and it prints from there, and it's kind of neat. We kind of enjoy doing that. So I wanted the same capability with this, and Bob didn't think that was possible. He's had his V3 for a while, I guess, and never tried it, but I found out how to do it. You just basically add this printer to the cloud to your account, and then anybody that's got that access to that account can print remotely to the printer. And so I told him about that when he got home and rested from church, and so he put a print on there, and it turned out to be that. And that may not look like much, but that is a wire holder for soldering two wires together. In other words, you basically have clamps here. You can see the little springs moving back and forth, and they hold the wire. You solder them together here, and it works out really nice. Basically like the little helping hands with the alligator clips on them. You guys that solder things and that know what I'm talking about. But this will come in real handy. Now this prints in place, what they call printing in place. Now the springs were separate. They were on the sides when I printed it out. But this block here was all one piece basically. And you basically set it up on its edge there, and you take a piece of a board or whatever and hit it with a hammer, and it not breaks these loose. And obviously you can see they move independently now, and that's the way that works. But very cool piece there that Bob printed on here, and I'm tickled with that. That was a really good deal. So there you go. That's all the things I printed so far. And like I said, Bob has got. I shouldn't say he's got it. It's been delivered to his house, the one he ordered. Today, but he hasn't got his yet. The way his works is they have several buildings there, I guess, on where he lives, and they generally deliver it, and then somebody goes around and collects all the local mailman, I guess is what you call them, and then takes it to each person's door and leaves it there or whatever. And so that he hasn't actually got it yet, and so when he gets that, we'll play around more. But also, on this thing here, Bob had to send me some cables. Those were necessary for, and I'm going to get up here and show you in just a second, but those were necessary for the top spool to work out. And let me get up here and show you what I'm talking about. All right, this area right here. I don't know how, whoops, wrong here. This little cable right here is the one I had to add to it to make it filament sensor, a runout sensor, which is located right there, be accessible from the cable, because the cable didn't originally go there. It was down quite a bit lower, than that. So that did not work right. So you have to move that up. And he ordered those the other day when I ordered the printer. He said, I'll have that coming to you. So they arrived on Saturday, I believe. Amazon brought them. So that was good. That worked well. And very happy about that. So like I say, this is a good deal. I'm really liking it. And so like I said, it is a great deal bigger than the other one, but it works well. And very pleased with it. And quality is, like I said, it was refurbished, but you would not know it from a difference from a new one. The way it was packed and everything, it was perfect. And and it has been running perfectly. And so I'm very, very pleased. And so that ought to do it. Like I said, next thing I think I'm going to do probably is put up a little bit of and it was a very simple way of putting this together. This is the simplest. Each printer I get seems to be a little simpler than the previous one. And this one is the same way. It was just basically a few screws here and there to put the gantry on. And, and like I said, the mounting of the filament holder and stuff like that was something I printed on my Bamboo Lab printer. And that worked out really well. So that is good. So let me throw that up real good, and we'll show you that real quick. And once we do, then we'll call it a video and go from there. So, all right, we are back here with the installation or setup instruction, and this is going to be brief because there's really not a lot to this. There's a total of 8 screws that holds the gantry onto the base of the printer, and I'll show you which one that is. This upright thing goes all the way around here. It's all one piece, and that goes down, and that's the gantry. Now the base is obviously the thing that fits on the table. So you want to set your base up first, put that on the table, and then you slide your gantry in. Basically, there's 2 places on each side, a place on each side that fits into. You can see it once you look at it. It's not hard to see. Basically, slide that in and line the holes up. There's 2 screws on this side, 2 screws on that side on the front. Get those lined up and screwed in. Once you do that, take and flip the whole thing over on its side, lay it on this gantry here, prop it up on that. And there's 2 screws on each side, again, on the bottom that go up into the gantry. And those hold it all on. Now, you make sure when you do that to use your other end of the Allen wrench to tighten them up really good. Now all the Allen wrenches come with it, and of course the screws. Now the screws I think are M4 by 12 millimeters, I believe, and I think they're all the same. I don't think there's any separate screws in here besides that, because all of them are used even for the rods on the back, the strut rods or support rods or what do you want to call them. Those are the same size screws as well. So basically you do that, and once you get that in, you set it back up, and then you do your rods, and they are marked on the top with the side they go on, and they match. If you look at the gantry, you'll see a R on one side, you'll see a L on the other side, and you basically match the R up to the R and the L up to the L, and that's pretty much it, except there is one little caveat here. On the right rod, there's a standoff with a cable clamp there that goes on the outside of the rod. That's to hold your main cable there, and that stays on the outside, so it doesn't interfere with anything. But other than that, that's pretty much it. You just put your screws in. The there's little adjustments on those, but those are adjusted. I wouldn't touch them because mine were perfectly adjusted. And like I said, you just screw them in and tighten them up, and that's really all there is to that. Not much there. Other things you can do, there's a cable plug over here on this side that plugs into the motor, and I believe there's just one there. On this side, there is 2. There's one that goes into the motor, and there's another one. There's a little pigtail comes out of the gantry that connects to the other little smaller wire that's over here. So those are got to be connected. So once you get all those done, I think that's about it. Now the filament runout sensor has is mounted over here originally, but if you're going to do it like mine, you'll move it. But I'm not going to go into all that because this is just basically telling you how to do it. Like I said, if you do decide to use that side mount for the filament, you basically take the main rod there, and there's two screws that stick out on that side. They're plain as day, you can't miss them. And you snap that over them and push it down, and then make sure you put your little spool holder into that hole. It screws into the hole, so that's all you got to do there. And then there's a kickstand that goes around that, and it's got two big loopy things on the top, and that goes around that little filament holder, and the filament goes in between it. And so, like I said, that's just a bad situation. I mean, I wouldn't recommend to anybody to do that, but do what you want as far as that's concerned. But that's pretty much it as far as the printer itself. Oh, one more thing, you got your display down here. I don't know how you can see that. Let's see if I can get you a little bit better picture on that. There we go. Okay, your display is down here. There's a cable feeds out of the base of the printer. You plug that into the back of the display. I think it only goes in one way, and I think it's the only way it could go because of the way it's oriented. Now there may be a piece of tape on the cable, and there may be a piece of there'll be a protector on the screen. You don't even have to take that off right now, but the tape you will have to take off with the connector or the cable. Plug that in, and then you'll be able to see it. There's two slots there that it fits into. You fit the tabs into the slot and push down, and it will snap into place. Not a big deal. Just make sure you got your cable attached before you snap it in. That's pretty much it. Now the other big thing you want to do is make sure. Now mine arrived set up for North American electricity current, and that's down here on the side. There's a hole right there, but originally when it comes in, there's a sticker there. It tells you which way to slide the control for 115 or 230 on your voltage. And like I said, mine was in the right position. I just took the little sticker off and made sure it was in the right position. That was all I did. I didn't do anything else. So, let's see, what else? I think that's about it. Other than the filament, you decide how you want to do your filament. Obviously, if you go my route, you'll have to have a holder printed up and a runout sensor and things like that printed up. But you can look online for instructions for that. I think it was Printables that Bob got that from. It's a good one, I know that, because in addition to what they provided for the filament in that, they also provided a bracket on each side that will come out, swing that way, and this one comes and swings this way, and there's a light, an IKEA light, and then numbers and everything provided in that Printables article. And I've ordered that, and there's also a camera holder that goes over here where the filament sensor used to mount, and that sticks out this way and looks down onto the print bed. And that's coming too. I've got that ordered. So once those come in, I'll show you what they look like and how they work, things like that. Your cable filament, again, I'm not going to go into how you do that because, again, you're going to have to have your filament run first. But like I said, that's the main setup of the printer itself. And I think once you get that done, you can take and turn it on and run the setup. Basically, once you turn the printer on, it comes up to the screen. I think it's got some questions you have to answer for your time zone, things like that. Your English is your language, or whatever your language is. And there might be a couple other questions, but they're pretty easy to just go through real quick on the display. And it is a touch display. You don't have to, have a pad or anything like that, like you do on most other printers. So that's pretty much it. Like I say, I can answer any questions you may have as far as any other concerns, but that's about it. Other than, like I said, your filament, how you run it. So that ought to do it. Get back to the other video and we'll close this out.